Sorry, we're closed.
I'm an island boy.
I'm an island boy. First one ever, first episode ever that we've done, not in the same room, right?
That is correct. That is correct.
What a treat. Do you have ambiance going? You usually have ambiance when I'm there.
No, I don't. Listen, I penciled you right out of my schedule last night. The only reason I'm on here is because technically I am wrong, and you did hold up your end of the bargain, and we're here for the podcast. So here we are.
Damn right, I held up my end of the bargain. It was the first thing I packed.
let me get some ambiance going. All right, for the people on YouTube, there we go.
There we go. People on YouTube, hit ambiance.
I tell you what, last night I something told me, I was like, I just do not feel like taking down my ring light, which is right here. So nailed that. Yeah,
I didn't. That's one thing I didn't bring. I wasn't bringing the ring light.
Here's the interesting thing: is that people had literally we are literally just having a conversation with no context for anybody else.
Okay, let's have some context. Have some context.
Literally, people tune in. They're like, let's see what Pat and Sean have to say, and then they hear, "I'm an island boy," and now they just listen to our regular conversation.
Yes. All right. So yesterday, little context for you guys. I've been attempting to. I don't even know if I've told you this, but I've been attempting to kind of slow down drinking until the Super Bowl. I'm going away to the Super Bowl. And like when I'm in town, it's hard like not to do anything. Like I'd like to go out. Funny enough, I don't typically drink that much on vacations. Sean knows this. We went to Ocean City this past summer. I wanted to have a few beverages, but wanted to go to bed at a reasonable time. I'm just different when I'm away. So I went to McSwilbo's or McSwiggins, and then I came back, and around like 5:00, one of my friends texted me and said, "Hey, we're all down in Puerto Rico. You should come." And I knew they were down there, but I wasn't I had no plans. But then I realized that one of my good friends, Brandon, was already out in Houston. My other friend that owns McSwilbo's with me was leaving for Scottsdale. I was like, you know what? And so I texted. So here's what I did. This is how this happened, Sean. But Sean, you don't know any of this, but I went to Paul Hickton, who is the guy who owns McSwilbo's with me. And he's the travel guy. Just like, Pat, just go. Just stop fucking being in Hoboken. And so kind of similar to you like to travel. And so I go to Paul. I was like, all right, I have an opportunity last second. The flight is in two and change hours to Puerto Rico. Should I take it? And he goes 100%. I was like, all right, it's done. So I made the decision at 5:30. The flight left at 7:57.
Well, that's actually not when the flight left, because I was tracking the flight.
So now that's why I want to hear your story, because I didn't tell you because I was hoping I could get it to be. I knew I couldn't, but I was hoping I would get it somehow be a surprise on the podcast.
If you just didn't say it was a surprise, I would never have looked. Because you said when I walked,
said I'm going to Green Rock.
You should just said I'm just going out, because when you left, you were like, I walked out and you were like clearly going out, backwards hat, jeans, the whole nine. And I was like, all right, I'm just going out for the night. And I was just like, where are you headed? And then you were like, I'll keep that a surprise. And in my head, I was like,
damn it.
What?
I just didn't do it well enough.
Yeah. So then I was kind of, playing around and like, I didn't really think of anything. I had like another call I had to do. And
I left while you were on a call specifically.
Yeah. So I pulled up the like when I was cooking my famous tacos, I was like, let's see where this, like, what could be surprising? And I pulled up your location and I saw Newark Airport. Now, for the people in podcast land that don't know this, which is 100% of you, I am oddly obsessed with aviation and flight. Yes. And I know Newark Airport. I know you were at Terminal C.
Yep.
And
I'm very curious to see how you got to this flight.
it was not hard. So I was like, okay, he's in Terminal C. I was like, I'm not 100% sure. I don't think this is the international section. But I was like, he's not going anywhere. And then I noticed like that you went into like the terminal side, and I was like, you were actually in the terminal. I was like, he's going somewhere. And so then I pulled up the departures page on the Google, and I went down the list, and I saw like around like, I think it was like probably my first Google was probably like 7:30, 7:45. And I scrolled down, I was like, these are all stupid. And then it said Puerto Rico. And I was like, okay, I think I know where he's going. I was like, because there are not a lot of other options. There's one out to LA at the exact same time. And I was like,
I'm doing that next weekend.
Yeah, I was like, that's he's not going there. So then I went full Z's mode. I went departure screen on the computer. So I have the app where it tracks all the flights in and out of everywhere. So I was watching the Newark Airport strip to see where the planes were going. And then on my phone, I had your location, and I was just watching you go taxi out of the gate, go up, and I was like, all right, here he goes. He's going somewhere. And you went up to the head of the runway, and I just waited for it to not be able to refresh anymore, like right around that time. And there were 3 flights that went out like right around that time. It was Washington, D.C., and I was like, he's not going there. It was Sarasota, Florida, which made me think. But I was like, I know BJ lives on the other side. So I was like, it's probably, I don't know why he would go there. But Puerto Rico, I know there's a reason to go there. I saw an 8:00 flight to San Juan, but it took off for the whatever airport you went to.
Aguadilla.
Yeah,
which is right by Maya Wez.
I saw that it was not near there. And then I was like, it has to be Puerto Rico. I mean, I guess Sarasota has some potential, but it has to be Puerto Rico. And then obviously the Washington D.C. flight landed an hour later, knocked that off the list. The 10:58 was when the Sarasota flight landed, knocked that off the list. There you are.
Here I am. Yeah. So I was curious. I texted Colleen first because I was supposed to see her this morning.
Okay.
And I literally just made plans with her like 45 minutes prior. And I text her and go, hey, plans are canceled. I'm going to Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And she was a bit surprised, but all right. And then I texted mom and dad because I know dad looks at our locations every morning. Yeah, I didn't want to be surprised to see Puerto Rico.
All right, well, that adds up. Our good friend Brian O'Connor, who's also
he's already texted me.
Okay, he's been checking locations as well. He was checking in for support. He was checking in for support night, and he was like, he was like, "Good morning, Sean. Like availability," and then it goes, "Wait, what?" And I was like, checking the location.
Yeah, he texted me this morning. He goes, "Did you bring your PS4?" And I go, yep. And he goes, wait, don't fuck with me.
Yeah. So we figured it out pretty quick once we saw that you were at Newark Airport. We weren't like 100% sure. The people listening, when I say that I'm oddly obsessed with aviation, like triple whatever you're thinking right now.
Yes. Sean is very obsessed. If you're on a flight and he knows you, he wants to track you.
I'll be little, even if like we're like really good friends, I'll be like a little annoyed if you didn't give me your tail number.
Anywho, yeah. So I went out. I've never done something like this where I just decided, and then 30 minutes later, I'm on my way to the airport.
It's pretty cool.
And I was like, I'd like to go down. I haven't been to Puerto Rico in a long time. I talked to my taxi driver about Maya Wez. He was a big Red Sox fan. Loves Alex Cora. The whole shebang.
That guy's probably a national hero down there.
Yeah. So the whole thing. So I was like, I'd like to do it. I will tell you this though, Sean. What you think of Puerto Rico?
Oh, I've already been on Google Maps
Very
this morning.
different where I am.
I've already been on Google Maps this morning.
So apparently, this is apparently
You're in the village.
Yes, it's all Americans though. So I was talking to the taxi driver. I was like, "This is not what I know of Puerto Rico." He's like, "Yeah, but you were in Isla Verde, El San Juan. Like, it's very different over there, but it's not different in the sense that it's all Americans. This is just a surfer town. So like everyone comes over here. Like you go to the bar, you're gonna see like 3 Puerto Ricans, and you're gonna see all Americans." He's like, it's the same thing. It's just not built up like San Juan is. That's touristy. This is surfers.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, makes sense. Because I do know people down here. Like one of my waitresses, this girl Mika, she comes down here constantly, and I've never, in all of her Instagram stories being down here, I've never seen her with a Puerto Rican. She's always here with Americans, and they all like surfer bros.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I haven't been out of the apartment yet. They're the Airbnb that we're at. But yeah, it's certainly different. And this guy could have been taking me to kill me. There's it was a really interesting trip to the Airbnb. Very interesting.
Well, you're pretty close to the airport.
Yes, but if you had a highway, take you fucking 3 minutes. But if these roads, they don't make them straight. So it was like driving on our home. I'm not gonna say our parents' house drive, but it was like driving on that the entire way.
Oh, that is.
So,
well, look, you're having an experience.
Yeah, it's having an experience. I'm excited. I was like, all right, let's do this. The only thing I was a little concerned about is I didn't want anyone to be upset about COVID, but we are kind of seemingly past that. But they are a bit stricter down here. When I landed, you had to show Vax card, which I had, but you get greeted by people in hazmat suits, and you have a QR code. I was like, no, like okay, this line. So I go over to this line, and then you walk in, and it's more people in hazmat suits, and you have to sit down with someone, show them your vaccine card, show them your ID, tell them where you're going, the whole shebang, and then they give you a piece of paper. And like a laminated piece of thing to allow you out of the airport. And people checking, you have to hand it to someone to let you out of the airport. So they're very strict down here about it. But yeah, I'm an island boy, and I got Island Pat.
I've already noticed that. I see.
I brought it specifically for the podcast.
Are you on your computer or phone?
Computer.
Oh, you got how do you do that with like the focus mode?
So I download. So I was on a Zoom with my guys the other day. If you click the 3 dots up by your name, well, not up by your top right.
Yeah, I see it.
And there should be blur my background or choose virtual background. You go in there, you got to download it, and it blurs it out for you.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Well, I did prepare for this podcast.
All right. Well, I did it. So great.
Perfect. I have a few things. Let's talk a little TikTok drama, because I am very interested about this, and there's a specific reason why I'm interested about this.
Okay.
Have you seen in your algorithm about, this is weird, it looks like you're floating because you're not close to the computer. Have you seen Taylor Holder?
Yes.
Yep. Have you seen anything about it on your algorithm?
No, I don't spend a lot of time on TikTok.
Okay. So the reason I asked because Dave's talking about Portnoy. I know like that could pop up on your stuff.
Okay.
But so there's been a bunch of shit coming out. Nothing actually really coming out, but like there's been a bunch of stuff that has popped out about like how something's coming about Taylor. He sent out apparently 60 cease and desist orders to his friends. All of them unfollowed him. So they the whole thing.
Okay.
The reason I want to talk about it, I don't really give a fuck about that. The reason I want to talk about that is I watched, and I really hated myself for wanting to watch this, but apparently his team reached out to Barstool, wanting to go on the BFFs pod, which is the podcast about TikTok, if you guys are unaware of that. And they reaches out and he goes, I want to answer questions. I want to talk. And Dave was licking his chops.
Of course.
So they reach out and they do this thing where it's going to be live. And like I'm sitting there waiting, probably with a bunch of 14-year-olds, waiting for this to go live because I want to see it. I want to
Sure.
see what
It's
the hell was going on.
It's intriguing.
Yeah, it was. And I get on. So he comes on, and Dave goes, "Hey, blah blah blah." We're talking. And he goes, "All right, what's going on? This is what we know. What's happening?" And he proceeds for the next 15 minutes or so to just say, "We're going to handle everything offline." So Dave, being Dave, this is why I love Dave as an interviewer, is he's just going to call you on it. And he's like, "Okay, well then we have nothing. I have nothing to fucking talk to you about. I have no questions for you. Like, you said you wanted to come on and answer questions." He's like, "Yeah, I want to come on and answer questions." He goes, "Okay, so what's going on? We're going to handle everything offline." Okay, that's not answering the question. And that's what some of the other people started chiming in, being like, "Then why did your people ask to come on the show?" And then he started going into how he thinks that it was a misunderstanding. He thinks that he thought it was a mutual thing, that you guys wanted me on and all this stuff. And Dave was like, "Oh, what?
No, did they end the podcast?
So it was like 10 minutes long. He was like, "All right, well, I got nothing to talk about then. Good luck with everything. I hope it's not as bad as we all think it is."
Is this on YouTube or something?
Yes, it's crazy. And you know, he's talking about Dave. Dave was just like, "All right, like, well, then I have nothing to ask you, man."
What
And
would
then
I
the
type
best
in?
part
Like
about it,
BFF's pod?
yes, what I
can't
want you to
believe
do,
this.
BFF Pops, do
This is
Taylor
gonna
Hall.
ruin my algorithm.
For the don't do it on TikTok. Go to YouTube. They might not. I don't know if they post it, but for the purpose of this podcast, because it is like 10 minutes long, I want to sit there and watch it. Go to the last like 30 seconds and just watch that, because it's just Dave, because Taylor's now off, and it's just Dave, Brianna. What's the guy's name on the podcast? It's from TikTok.
Josh Richards.
Josh Richards. Talking on the podcast about how that made no fucking sense. Like, it made absolutely, they were sitting there dumbfounded, being like, that was so stupid. Like, why the hell did he reach out and not want to talk? Very, very, very strange. I still don't understand what's going on. But you listening to it?
What the?
I mean,
what the fuck was that?
what?
I
He was
know.
like, you could ask questions. We can't ask fucking questions. We don't know what happened.
I was under the impression when he said ask me questions and then we asked him a question, he was going to answer the question.
Me too.
I don't know.
Or
why that's such
I
a
thought
hot
he was
take.
going to say what's about to happen
Me
and then
too.
unequivocally deny it.
All right, we'll see.
That was weird. Yeah.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.
But yeah, it's just the most ridiculous thing. I don't understand the move. Does the PR team lie to him? Say, "Hey, listen, they reached out to us."
Well, I mean, these TikTok people. Here's my kind of philosophy on that stuff. So I think that people that kind of like come into fame, popularity, and money like that, just kind of like that.
Yeah.
I think that things like this just always pop up because you didn't really earn it. And not that you didn't earn, that's probably not the right way to say it, because they did. But it's more so to me that you haven't like built up the skills to handle what comes with that. And you know, that's it just comes from experience and time and like effort and struggle and stuff like that. And I think that it's probably a load of nothing. I bet it's just, my guess is it's stupid ass drama that has no real bearing on anything. And he's overhyping it because he's a TikTok guy who doesn't realize that he actually doesn't mean a whole lot to anything in the world.
Probably. I have heard, I don't know if I've heard it, if it's an actual phrase where I'm just making this up in my head. I feel like I've heard quick fame is bad. It's like,
yeah, I mean, you
difficult
look
to
at
deal with.
anybody who gets money or fame. Like, you look at child actors, I think is a great example. Whenever I speak on this, I always talk about child actors. They always get screwed up. And like, I always use the TikTok people as the same thing, because out of nowhere, you know, like, you look at like a Charlie D'Amelio, who I don't really follow her. I don't know if she's like going off the rails or anything. Kind of seems like her sister was sort of going off the rails.
They don't pop up my algorithm
Yeah, they
anymore,
don't- I
but it
don't-
did seem like that.
Yeah. But these, you just kind of out of nowhere, I'm just dancing on TikTok and all of a sudden I have 40 million followers and, Maybelline is calling me up for a
Great
sponsorship.
company choice.
Yeah.
Great company choice.
And I was, and you just don't like, there's just things that come along with that and temptations and challenges and demons and the hate. Man, it takes a lot. It's a special person. I always read I read like the Think and Grow Rich and like self-help guys, Earl Nightingale and those folks and everybody, Andrew Carnegie. Everybody says like you can't get something without nothing. My favorite line is for every benefit a tax is levied, and like you either pay first or you pay second, and when you get it without doing anything for it, there's always a price that has to be paid, and I think probably you're seeing that. I think that I bet a lot of them are dealing with that, and we just don't know about it because literally, who cares about these guys who got popular from dancing on TikTok?
And they are kids.
Yeah, of course. And like when you're a kid, like these stupid things matter. Like the material stuff is bigger. You want to be showy about your stuff. Like what skills, like Josh Richards to me, like that guy's got something else going on. Like he's clicking somewhere else.
Smart kid.
Yeah.
He's a smart kid.
The other guys, and I don't really know, I have no real information on it, but the other guys, I'm like, man, like what skills do you bring to the marketplace? What do you have that is transferable? And probably nothing. I mean, when I was 17, 18 years old, what was I bringing to the marketplace? Just a whole lot of ignorance. Who knows? That stuff's weird to me. Yeah, of course. You know what? I'm reading this book by Ray Dalio right now. And I read the stuff that he's talking about with respect to investing. And I'm like, I don't know how I ever going to make money in any of this. This guy is looking at the rise and fall of the Persian Empire to decide whether he's going to invest in Tesla next month. Like,
I know,
dude. Like, come on, guy.
Yeah, and that's why I think, and we've talked about this. That's why I like the Warren Buffett approach. Is you don't have to do all that.
Man, I read an article this morning. It said the top 10 richest people in the world all lost billions in the first month of 2022, except Warren Buffett.
Well, I told you that randomly fucking thing. I don't know if he's still doing it. I haven't looked in a while, but since like 2020, that guy's been sitting on like $130 billion, waiting for what he calls "quote unquote" a whale.
I mean,
that's like essentially that's like JP Morgan. That's like JP Morgan falling and him buying it for pennies on the dollar and being like, "Yes, I'm winning." I just think I don't care the reason I don't care what anyone says about investing besides Warren fucking Buffett is because when I watched that fucking documentary on the 2008 collapse, they brought every big bank CEO to come in and said, "Hey, can your bank, a bank, acquire, Bear Stearns? Can it acquire Lehman Brothers?" Bear Stearns ended up getting acquired, I think, by JP Morgan for $2 a share when it was up to like 180 or something like that. Like ridiculous. Lehman Brothers, no one wanted because their assets were fucking shit. And so the Fed guy that was being interviewed, who was the Fed chair at the time, said, "All right, well, when the big banks won't do it, you go to the one person that has the ability to still do it. It's Warren Buffett. If you can call a singular person to buy a fucking bank, I don't care what anyone else says about investing. That motherfucker is the king of kings when it comes to investing."
What do you think that discussion around the dinner table is like with his wife? I think his wife passed away, actually.
I don't think she has.
Well,
I'm almost positive she hasn't.
Okay, what do you think?
He talks about her all the time about how when he passes away, what he does, how she's supposed to handle the money.
Looking it up.
But yeah, I don't know. Hey, yeah, honey.
He's like, they're just like eating like macaroni and cheese, and he's just like, Yeah, at work today, they wanted me to buy Lehman Brothers, but I was a little too rich for my taste.
How many shares? All of them.
the max shares.
the thing was he came back too. He was like, no, the investment is shit. And they're talking about like $1 a share. And he's like, no, their investments are worth nothing.
Yeah.
Imagine being a CEO of a bank and things falling and them being like, you, sir, your investments that you've made are worth $0. They're shit. And somehow he's still allowed to trade now. He's like part of a private equity firm.
It's all
Dick
fun and
Fold,
games.
I think his name was.
It's all fun and
What a
games
douche that
down there
guy
on
is.
Wall Street.
I know. No one gives a fuck about anything, which is, listen, I get it, but it's a bit much. It's a bit
Yeah.
much when your bank.
I mean, yeah, they were
But-
doing some unsavory.
Unsavory to say the least.
Yeah.
To say the absolute least.
That
The
wasn't
absolute least. The other thing I've seen on TikTok, which I wanted to bring up during this podcast, is because I think we can dive down a rabbit hole here. Is I've seen this quote now, and you've seen it too. I can almost guarantee it. I've seen this quote now. I want to say all of a sudden out of nowhere, like 40 times over the last, let's say, month.
Okay.
Just keeps popping up in different videos, such like that. The quote is 20% of men hook up with 80% of the women.
Okay. This is off topic for me.
So the other thing, the other thing, the more family friendly version of that would be 80% of the women only want 20% of the men.
Okay. All right. Either way.
So yeah, so we can not talk about hooking up, but it's the rabbit hole here of how like there's 80% of men supposedly, so one video said like picking up the scraps. That was the fucking quote, which is not a very nice thing to say about 20% of women.
Okay.
But the dynamic here and why that happens, and it goes
Well,
back to
it's
like
very clear.
being a. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, look, we've all been in the game. We all understand it. Okay.
Scared, Sean.
Look,
Let's hear it.
Miranda, get the censor button ready. Look, we've all been in it. There's a misconception out there that guys are just like running amok, right? And trying to be sleeping with a different girl every single night and all that stuff like that. There's like that. Don't get me wrong, every guy wants to do that, okay? But from experience, and I have partied at the capital of parties in Morgantown, West Virginia. Guys, very few guys even attempt. It's too scary, makes them too nervous. They never even make the approach to do it. And the small percentage of people, it's a very small percentage of men that actually go and try and go say something to women, and those are the guys who end up being successful, and I'm surprised it's 20%. I'm surprised it's not lower than that. It probably should be lower than that. I don't.
Probably
Of
is
all
lower
the
than
people that I've known, and we're talking NBA players, Major League Baseball players, the college studs. I know like 4 guys that are like are comfortable in that setting of going up and having a conversation and trying to drum something up, as opposed to just sitting back and hoping that something falls into their lap, which is what most guys do. Like when I say most, I'm not talking like 51%. I'm talking like 99%. And that to me is why that the number is skewed in that direction, because and now like the whole dynamic, like women aren't supposed to go talk to the guys, and that varies, but now so like the girls are sitting back and now they're only waiting for the 1% of guys who are going to actually say something, and then they're like, well, what, there ain't nobody else coming to talk to me, right? And so I mean I think that just goes back to I am interested to know like now swipe generation, which thankfully I have avoided, just how that changes. But yeah, this is just I
So
don't think that doesn't surprise me
one
at
of
all.
one of the things I wanted to bring up here is your personal life here, Sean.
Okay.
But so for you guys at home that don't know, when Sean was single, there was nothing off limits to Sean. Sean
Please
is
give character to
notorious-
context to that.
Sean is notorious for never feeling embarrassed. I don't know how he's managed to do that in his life. I wish I could do that. I don't have that trait in me. I'll give you a little insight on how I hit on women in a minute, but like, I don't have that in me. I never had it in me. There's a reason why I'm out of baseball, because when I couldn't throw a strike anymore, I was embarrassed to be out there. If I was Sean, I was never embarrassed. I would have been just fine. But it's just not the case. So anywho, so Sean was historic. It was known. Me, my brother, and this guy AC would go out all the time, and we'd sit in the corner of this bar called Cadillac Cantina, and we'd go out. And Sean was known to go up to not singular women to speak to them. He would go up to groups of 6, 8, even 12 sometimes.
They're always in groups.
Start a conversation with all of them. And he only has focus on one, but he would do that. And I couldn't fathom it. I went so far as to once we went out with a couple girlfriends of mine from college, and I asked him, I go, look at my brother right now. You know, okay. I was like, see how he's approaching that group of girls. He said, yeah. And I go, is there benefit here? Like, what is the risk, the cost risk analysis here? I was like, what is going on here? I was like, let me ask you this question. If you guys were in a group like that, let's say 6 girls, a gentleman walks over, Sean's good looking guy, charming, can speak to you, like all that stuff. But it is a little awkward because it's 6-on-1 here. Is there a chance that nothing materializes just because of the awkward dynamic of 6-on-1? And they said 100%. If we feel awkward, even if we think he's super hot, we're not touching it. Maybe later in the night, like we run into each other, I might say something one-on-one, but never at that moment. I was like, okay, makes sense. The full circle here is that Sean is now been in a committed relationship for 4+ years. And that committed relationship came from falling in his lap.
Truly.
So, and that's why I wanted to bring it up, was like, is approaching women not the game, is letting it fall in your lap, because you have a tremendous relationship for the last 4+ years. And she came up to you in the same bar that we're talking about right now.
Look, I'll tell you right now,
Look,
it's not,
guys,
it's not
this.
It's not the game. It's not the game. It worked out really nicely for me, but it is absolutely not the game. Look, I mean, you're at the bar, see pretty women over there. You stand and do nothing. I will assure you, you will be going home with a piece of pizza that night. You have to go,
my friend.
you have to go have the conversation. And look, I have approached a plethora of groups, and it is always uncomfortable and it's always awkward, and you just kind of have to go wheel your way through it. And sometimes immediately upon saying hello, I would regret my decision, because you just get that wave of awkwardness. Everyone just kind of looks at you and they're like what is going on here? But you have to. Here was my philosophy. One is you have to break the ice. You got to break the tension. You know, you got to make some sort of contact to do that. The second thing I was under the impression that the decision was made well in advance of me approaching. It was everybody surveying the scene, making the decisions and ranking in order of, you know, what is good and what is not. And all I needed to do is see if I was ranking highly for someone, if we had mutual high rankings. But we never figured that out if we stand on the opposite sides of the bar. So yeah, I would do that. And there were plenty of times I remember walking up to one gal saying, hello, my name is Sean. And she just just absolutely giving me no feedback whatsoever. I did nothing else. I turned around and walked away.
I was hoping you'd tell that story. I was going to ask you to tell that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I don't, if she was like bitchy about it, like see ya. Like you just have to do that. So no, I don't think that it's the game. I think that I'd actually like to double down and say that it's not the game, because there are going to be some people out there who are going to be like, wow, if it worked out so well for Sean, it is going to the master. It's going to work. It's going to work for me. And then they're just going to sit back, and then they're going to be, is it going to be pepperoni or is it going to be pepper? Yeah. That's a story we're not going to tell. Yeah, you have to go out and you have to do it. It's you gotta do that. Somebody's got to do it.
You have to. Now,
and I guess today with the Tinder.
You sound like you're 60. The Tinder
I don't
on
know.
the line.
I don't know. I guess maybe it's easier. I feel like it'd be super awkward to like meet the person in real life. Like I'd be like looking at their picture. Is this their actual person? This guy doesn't look anything like his pictures. I don't know.
I used to love the girls that, because I used Tinder for a very brief moment in time. And then it was overwhelming, so I stopped doing it. But I love the girls that would put pictures up with only their girlfriends. You had to guess which girl it was.
If there was a group of girls, you knew what was going on there.
Yeah, I know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, we know what's happening. You're wearing big sunglasses too? I can't see now. It's big sunglasses and a mask. I can't see this person.
The best part about it is literally never the best looking one.
There's literally never. There's a guy out there, when I said big sunglasses, who did the Michael Scott. Thank you.
I love that. Love that joke.
It's a good gif.
But my game back in the day, and Sean knows this, my game back in the day, and still is to this day, because I'm recently single now. Eye contact game.
Yeah.
All of the eye contact.
I would start there. Start with the eye contact.
But I don't want to give guys bad advice here, because there is a downside to that. You could be making eye contact with a girl several times because she thinks you're a fucking whack job. Why is this guy still looking at me?
Not us.
Well, not us. No, super charming and handsome. But you have to be careful. You have to read the look.
Let me give a little insight into our world in particular. So Patrick and I are both 6'4" plus, and when you are above 6'4", there is a certain class of women that are lasered in on you, and it's the 5'10" plus crowd, right?
Yes. Doesn't matter how you look.
No, it does not. I mean, if you just somehow look decent, got a button up, you're good. And that was something I always noticed, was like, if there was ever a girl who's like 6 foot 5'11" in the bar, it was like I could feel them over here. And then recently, me and Patrick and our friend Brian Opie, we were at a bar. Opie's also 6'5". We were at a bar in New York. And we were like at the basement. There was nobody else in the basement. There was maybe a couple other people, but there's nobody else. Right by the stairs to enter, it was like us three just like having a conversation. And these like 2 or 3 girls walked downstairs, all like really tall. And you could tell that as soon as they walked down, this is going to sound super cocky, but whatever. As soon as they hit the bottom, they were like, oh my God, we've hit the mother lode. And we got out of there quickly, but oh my God, you just feel it when
feel it.
Yeah, that's automatic.
And I can't imagine many girls listen to our podcast, but
I hope not anymore.
Miranda, that's pretty much it.
Listen, it's just automatic when I'm out there.
But girls can feel this. I'm sure girls feel it more than we do, because I'm sure they feel eyes on them.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't matter. Like if you walk into the bar, and that's the other thing. This is the context I want to give though to the eye contact game before I drop that, is that the way you can tell, because sometimes the stare you don't know. Obviously, they can give a smirk. They can be looking at you with your friends. Blah blah blah. The game, you stand in one spot. Do not move. make eye contact a few times. If they move closer to you, they're in. If they move further
I never
away,
thought about that.
you're out. They will avoid you. They will tell their friends, hey, listen, this guy keeps looking at me. Can we go to the other side of the bar? And they will. If they all of a sudden closer to you, your chances of a success skyrocket.
Still got to make the approach.
Still gotta make the approach. But you can time the approach. Let them go to the bar. I'll meet. All of a sudden, I want shots. Here I go.
Yeah, that was
So
always
and
nice.
then
That was nice. You could get a couple shots. Loosen up the crowd.
but that's my break the ice. That's and that's why people think I'm an alcoholic because every time there's a lull in the conversation, no one's really vibing. I'm like, let's get a shot at us. Let's do something. Next thing you know, you've done 15 of those lulls, and you're in a bad position.
Well, especially when you're like trying to have a conversation with a girl that you're just like trying to like drum up out of nowhere, and there's a lull. You better find a way to fill that lull real quick.
and I think about Green Rock, think about McSween, think of places we used to frequent. It's not like we're sitting there and it's Sinatra on.
Yeah.
Like the thing is bumping in your ears. So not only do you have to find the conversation, but you have to scream.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, because that's not, you're like say something in her ear, and then she says something in your ear, say something in your ear, and then when you don't have anything else to say, you're both standing upright, and you're just.
Yeah. Oh, this used to be my ringtone.
And you start talking to your friends that are on the other sides of you. Oh,
that you're toast. You're toast. I would if I had nothing, if within like 2 seconds of an awkward silence, I'm out. I'm gonna catch up with you later. That's another thing, gentlemen. Clean it up. All right. Far too many of you are leeches, and you got a hold of one. You're not going anywhere. They just like follow them around the bar like a puppy dog. It's embarrassing. Like, God, it is the worst. Like, you ever see that one guy? You know the guy who like the girl is not interested, but he's already broken the ice. He's already tried. Like, she's turned back to her friends, and he's like hovering at like her like 5 o'clock, just like. And his friends are like, yeah, dude, you got this, man. And her friends are like, you go away.
Don't have this.
Yeah. And like those, they're just like the puppy dog. And then like college, I guess this probably is still a thing. You're like dancing with a girl at a bar, and it ends up now it's like, I can't pull myself away. I'm end up dancing with this girl for an hour and a half. You're like pouring sweat. You can't go away. Like, it's cool to be like, hey, I'll catch up with you later. Like, I'm not gonna do this right now. Oh my God, that was always such a killer for me, was just watching that happen. It's just like, oh my God. Oh man, did we lose
No,
Patty Puerto Rico?
We're back. So for every now and again, because I use my hotspots, that's obviously the best choice of Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And it's, for whatever reason, every now and again, it just like pops off. I don't know why. But yes, you can leave the girl, and you should leave the girl, because you want them
go
to follow
recalibrate.
you.
It's like halftime. Go back to the coach. It's timeout. Take a full.
If you meet a girl at 11:30 at the bar, and let's say you stay till close at 3 a.m. in Hoboken, you're telling me you got 3.5 hours of conversation in your arsenal?
Ain't nobody got 3 hours of
think
conversation in their arsenal.
Ain't nobody got that.
No.
You go have fun, go meet your friends, and then you and then you reconnect with both groups. Now both groups are vibing.
The double group vibe. I mean, that's a big dynamic. That's where a lot of things go down. You got
a lot of things go down the double group vibe.
A lot of things go down to the double group dynamic. You got to find a way to access the double group dynamic. And this is a good opportunity to take a word from our sponsor, Sean Light Dating Coaching. Dating coaching. 1,500 a month.
Sean Light Dating. What's that guy on fucking TikTok that does that shit? Really douchey.
Oh, you're talking. I know exactly who you're talking about. Jason Capital.
Yes,
bro. I have not seen that dude. I think like he went to like a dark. I think he went to like a dark place. I ended up seeing like some ads for him, and he was just like, his eyes were like really dark, and he was like on a beach, and he was like really disheveled. And he's like, hey, like, does anybody want to? Well, it was not like that at all, but it was like he's
sleazeball.
Yeah, he's sketchy. He's sketchy.
Yeah. All right, where I want to end this podcast, Sean.
Okay.
Since I'm in Puerto Rico, our home in 2015 for October, November, and December, our
Certainly.
home for Thanksgiving
Cafe Negra.
that year, Cafe Negra, Rosemary's. I honestly wish I was a little. I'm happy that I'm here. I'm happy to come, but I was hoping a little bit that I'd be over by El San Juan just so I could see if Rosemary's. There's obviously there's a nice steakhouse over there. Roost Chris is over there, so
Yeah, it's only in Puerto
little
Rico they
little
have those.
upset. Yes, but I want to know favorite memory from Puerto Rico that year
Man,
because there's a bunch.
what a trip! What a
I'm
trip.
going to tell you mine.
Okay.
And it is hands down. It's like kind of a two-part, but actually, God, there are now. I'm thinking
There's
of more.
so many.
Now I'm thinking of more, but let's just go with the first one I think of. It's the brawl.
Yeah.
The brawl, and it's not the brawl itself because I was terrified. I am not a fighter, if anyone knows that. Like, and the guy charged me with his fucking bat, so that was fucked up. But it's the recap. One, the camaraderie in the clubhouse afterwards, and everyone coming in drinking beers, being like, "Oh, fuck those guys!" Like, blah blah. And then the second one was the recap of your phone call because you were on the call live with our parents. And they were sitting like a Home Depot parking lot.
That's right, they were. And I was just calling because there was no like TV coverage, so I was just trying
Can
to
you
give them a
please
play-by-play.
share with everyone that phone call?
Yeah, so I was sitting at the top of the stadium in it was Cogwas, and
Cogwas.
just on the phone with my parents. I think they were on speaker, and Patrick was pitching, and I think the first one you threw a little inside or something like that, and I was like, oh, okay, just brushing him back a little bit. And they're like, okay. I was like, counts like 1-0, 1-0. And I was like, oh my God, he lost a lot of control of that pitch. I went way behind. Oh my God, the guy's going with a bat. Oh my God, they're charging the mound and he has a bat. And my mom's like, are you serious? And I'm like, 100% serious. And I was like commentating over the phone, the brawl. I was like, he looks safe. He looks safe. There's a lot of natives around him. I was like, they had taken away the bat from the gentleman. Patrick was in the back. I should probably leave my seat.
I would love to see Sean running onto the field.
I mean, it was. I'll tell you what. It was an actual thought of mine because I didn't necessarily know how that was going to shake out. They went pretty close to 0 to 100 in terms of aggressiveness and like being kind of like brawls happen in baseball, but not really. Like it's like, oh, run to the mound, everybody runs out, and it's like, you suck, no, you suck. It was not one of those situations. And so like I was one, but I remember I actually to this day I can see it right now, looking down at the bullpen because I was like, okay, people have to come out and help. And Daniel Tillman.
Daniel Tillman will ever have a place in my heart.
Freaking Braveheart running out of the bullpen, just the long hair flowing in the Puerto Rican breeze. Just, oh my God! I think he was the guy who like got the guy like before he was like coming at you.
The guy came in with the bat. He drops the bat because he realized I wasn't like according to natives. Yeah. They said they talked to him because apparently he's a very nice guy. Didn't see him at the time.
Yeah.
But so he came out with the bat and then he drops it. I kind of back away. I don't want anything to fucking do with this. For context for people at home, I just got put on the big league roster that day by the Red Sox. So poor timing. And comes at me with the bat, whatever. And then takes his helmet off and smokes me, tries to hit me in the face with the helmet, ends up hitting me in the leg. Because I fucking dodged that shit.
Very elusive.
And that's when Tilly gets him. Yeah.
Oh man, it was majestic.
Yes. And I remember the other thing I remember is like the other team. That was the thing. It's like it was like almost like a bowling alley. Like they let him come at me.
Yeah, they did.
The only thing that my teammates that were also natives, obviously friends with all these probably guys, just held them back. No cheap shots on Pat, but we're gonna let the fight happen. Tilly was not having any of that.
No.
But
it went well.
Yeah, I remember those guys calling me a pussy while this guy's running at me. I was like, do you fucking see this guy's got a fucking bat? Like, I can't. What do you want me to do?
Yeah. No,
But
that's
anyway,
so-
Tilly gets him, and then I remember Henry Ramos, who I think is still playing. Henry Ramos comes and grabs me and pulls me out of the group and keeps me out of there. So it was crazy, and then perfect timing. So for you guys know, it's Caguas, Carolina, Santurce, and then it's Mayahuez at the time, at least. And Mayahuez is on the other side of the island. That's where I am now. Everywhere else is 2 hours to the east, and I get suspended for, I don't remember how many games, but like 3 games or so,
something like that. It was
and
beautiful.
it just happened to fall on a day where they were going to Mayahuez, so it fucking saved me. And so then me and Sean I remember hanging on the beach, just drinking something out of a coconut, absolutely living my life.
Oh my God, I am so upset. I am suspended.
Please don't suspend me more.
I would say my top memories from that trip, the one like really come to mind. I mean, like just the daily breakfast at 24/7 Marketplace, a convenience store. I thought that was great. The races with Matty Ice, where like, so for context for people, we would go to breakfast at the same place every single morning, and it was me, Patrick, and our roommate, who's the athletic trainer, Matt Morrell. He was a trainer for the Angels. I think he still is, and we would like, it was like the last person to get there, it was like, you're a rotten egg, one of those things.
Yeah.
But we all really got into it over our time there, and to the point where like people would like sneak out of the apartment, and you'd be in your room like talking to everybody, and they'd be gone, and then when you like stopped to hear somebody's response and there would be nobody's response, you were like, shit, and you knew. And then, so I remember, my favorite one of those was being in my room and like being like, yeah, guys, I think I'll be ready in like 10 minutes to go. I just need to do this and that. And then like, I was like, when are you guys ready? And it was crickets. And I was like, oh my God, no. And then you guys would lock the door so that it was harder for me to get out. And then I'd have to lock it on the way back. And I heard the click of the door. So I like grabbed my stuff. And I knew that you guys were only a couple seconds ahead of me, and I went all the way down to the garage because I knew there was a separate entrance up into the street, like there was a ramp going up into the street, and you guys probably wouldn't go that way. And you guys were like kind of like speed walking out of it, and I freaking was hauling ass out of this ramp. You guys both saw me. We like sprinted to the to the breakfast place. That was awesome. But I think the one that, and you'll be with me on this one, that really stands out was at the end of the trip, last one. I think we were in Carolina, Roberto Clemente Stadium, and it was Patrick's last game there, and he got the coaches like Johnny Walker Blue, and we at the end of the game, for you guys don't probably know what it's like at the end of a baseball game. It's a bunch of grown men hanging out in their underwear, and they called us into their little coach's office, which was like a dingy Harry Potter under the stairs little section, dark as hell, and they all poured everybody a shot of Johnny Walker Blue, I think it was. Yep. And I'm just like sitting there, and like it was a really cool moment, but it's made even cooler now that Alex Cora, who was kind of leading that charge, is now the coach of the Reds, or the manager of the Red Sox. And it's just like we were in this absolute crap hole of a clubhouse. It was moist and damp in there. It was just like, it had that smell, old baseball, just a bunch of salty baseball guys, and just taking that shot. It was just a cool. That's probably the one that is probably the best of them all for me.
Well, that was fun. Fun. I remember that myself. But a lot of good times here in Puerto Rico. It's now 6 years ago. It's almost 7 now, because I was 24th time when I went there, and I'll be 31 here in March. So 7 years ago now. We were at Rosemary's every morning. Sean was pretending to say that Sean's so uppity with his Spanish too. He can't just say it normally. Since there was this fucking leg cross, and he'll be like, I'll have
there was no hand motions. Excuse me.
I'll have Cafe Negra. I was like, Sean, just say black coffee. They speak fucking English.
No, so you got to blend into the people. I wanted the experience.
Sean, you're the most pale person in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, but okay. What's better? What's better? Saying, can I have some Cafe Negra? Or saying, can I have the Cafe Negra?
Okay, I will tell you right now. You didn't say, "Hey, can I please have some Cafe Negra?" You were like, "Oh, let me have the Cafe Negra with huevos rancheros." And
That was not what I was having for breakfast. Huevos rancheros.
Also, just I'll leave you guys with this. What fun fact: if you ever order cereal in Puerto Rico, not fucking cereal.
Not Honey Nut Cheerios.
No, you're getting
oatmeal. And they're gonna tell you how you're gonna eat it. You get a different cereal every damn day.
It was a good or bad cereal day.
Hey, it's a good cereal.
Also, so you guys know, Rosemary's the Diner was actually a convenience
It
store.
was like a 7-Eleven with a little sit-down area. And Rosemary would come up, and David, poor David.
Just beats his wife at home.
Just comes in, what do you want, cereal?
Fuck you guys.
Oh, good times.
Oh man. All right. Well, until next time, guys.
All right, good talk.
Sorry, we're closed.